Hello, Darshan Maharaja here. The Liberal leadership contest is concluding today. The manner in which it was conducted leaves a lot to be desired. There is much to be said about the uh, imperfect way in which it was conducted. I'm putting it mildly here, but that is water under the bridge. The only thing that I would like to highlight about that race presently is that it does not augur well for a party hoping to be in government, because if this is how they can mismanage such a relatively tiny task, then running the affairs of government is clearly something beyond their capabilities. This is my opinion, of course. But it looks like Mark Carney, from all appearances, that he is going to be the winner. As of yesterday, I was seeing reports that about 150,000 of the 400,000 registered members had voted. That turnout is again subject of another discussion, but presently we can say that it is disappointing. Now, the focus has shifted on when Mark Carney will call an election if he wins the leadership contest. And people with contacts inside the political circles have said, including Toronto Sun reporter Brian Lilly, that Mr. Carney will not wait around. He'll call an election immediately. And given the 37-day minimum period for campaign, we are looking at an election at the in the end part of April, or maybe the first week of May, somewhere there. I'm sure NDP leader Jagmeet Singh doesn't want that election to happen that soon. He has been talking about how he is willing to fight for the workers and businesses that are going to be affected by the tariff war with the United States. This is, I mean, there is a broadly accepted view that this is just another excuse that he has found to prop up the Liberal government, because his party doesn't have the funds to fight an election. Reportedly, they have just finished paying off the money loan that they took for the previous election. So that's like more than 3 years now, almost 3.5 years. So the party is not materially equipped to fight an election. But that is, of course, conjecture. Maybe they have arrangements inside. Uh, Coming to the point of view of outsiders, that is, people like you and I, who don't have the inside contacts of seasoned reporters like Brian Lilly, we are left to observe certain behaviors of various parties and then conclude as to what they are trying to get at. And my reason as an outsider for concluding that Mark Carney is going to call an election soon after becoming the leader of the Liberal Party is that there are certain indications that we as ordinary citizens and voters can observe. Uh, and if those start getting lined up, then you can reasonably surmise that an election is in the offing. The first clue came when the government announced a further ban on some more firearms, 179 types to be precise. Now, this is one of the everlasting issues that never gets settled in Canada, and it is useful to the Liberal Party in electoral terms. Never mind that more than 2,000, I think it's 2,400 types of firearms that have been banned in the last 5 years or so, and gun crime hasn't been reduced, it has not decreased. So this is purely posturing, but it works for them. So why not? So let's ban some more types of firearms. Now, I have to point out that on the previous occasions during the 5 years when they banned firearms, these announcements were not immediately followed by a call for election. So I'm trying not to be too hasty here, but there are two other developments that, if you align them with this gun ban, then you start seeing a greater probability of an election being called. Uh, the second development was that Liberal MP Marcy Ian, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, who represents the riding of Toronto Centre, has declared that she is not going to run for re-election. So the assumption being made is that she is vacating that room for Mr. Carney. It's a safe seat for Liberals. So, this precludes the possibility of Mr. Carney not being able to win in the riding where he is himself running as the Liberal Party leader. Something that happened provincially with Bonnie Crombie in Mississauga, although she was mayor of the city. She could not win the seat that she was hoping to win. A lot of people are saying that she lost her own seat, but she was not holding that seat. So it was not her own seat. But semantics aside, basically my point here is that Mr. Carney is being presumably given a place where he is sure of at least winning his riding. Although nobody has asked him so far from the media or elsewhere, as far as I have seen, nobody has asked him as to whether he will stick around if his party is unable to form government. He may win his seat, but then if his party does not form government, is he going to stick around? Does he relish the idea of being the leader of the opposition party? And yes, we can safely say that if the Liberals don't win the election, they will at least be in the official opposition status. Plainly because the NDP has tanked. All the decisions and policies and actions that they have uh, made over the past 3+ years, their base, their support, everything has eroded. So if Liberals don't form government, they will at least be in the official opposition party status. And in that case, is Mr. Carney planning to hang around? Nobody has asked him that. But these are now the two developments that we have seen: the gun ban and the favorable seat being opened up for Mr. Carney to run from. The third one is a little bit more serious and requires our greater attention, which is the whole talk about conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's alleged lack of security clearance. I was surprised to see this, in fact, although Mr. Carney had made reference to that in a snide manner, but that is to be expected in a political race. But now I saw it yesterday being posted by the current and outgoing Prime Minister Trudeau himself, saying that Mr. Poilievre does not have a security clearance. There was also a video on YouTube, could have been Prime Minister Trudeau's channel or Liberal Party channel. I don't remember exactly, but it was the official um, stratum of messaging from the Liberal Party. And I was surprised. This so-called issue has been debunked number of times. Mr. Poilievre has himself posted a written explanation of what is the actual situation. Former NDP leader and former leader of the official opposition, Tom Mulcair, has said it not just once but twice on national level TV that he agrees completely with Mr. Poilievre. First of all, Mr. Poilievre does have security clearance. They are conflating two separate issues. One is security clearance, and the other is the uh, the non-disclosure agreement that is tied to being read into the report of NSICOP, NCCOP, about foreign interference. And that non-disclosure agreement, more colloquially known as a gag order, Mr. Mulcair was clear. He said, it would remove his ability to talk about foreign interference, and that if I was in his place, I would do the same. Now, this has been long settled, and I was surprised to see it being revived at the official level by outgoing Prime Minister Trudeau and the Liberal Party itself. It is even more disappointing to see that there are so many takers for this. I mean, yesterday someone came up with an excellent term on Twitter, uh, plague of incuriosity. But I think this is even more serious than that, because once the facts have been presented, then the lack of curiosity is no longer a factor. So I call this the age of unknowledge. What is unknowledge? Continuing to believe something that has been refuted as being untrue. That is unknowledge, because knowing that is knowledge, and continuing to believe the opposite when being told what the truth is unknowledge. So there are so many takers for this, apart from social media, where people have taken up to posting this alleged lack of security clearance for Mr. Polyev. But today, there is a rally that Mr. Polyev is holding in London, Bring It Home rally. And the independent journalist, Karima Saad, is there with her photographer. And I saw clips of video that she had posted on Twitter. And there are protesters there, people who are opposed to Mr. Polyev, and some of them are carrying placards saying, "Hey, Pierre, why don't you take a security clearance?" Now, one cannot be sincerely believing this at this point, but if one is, then that is even more serious. Or, in fact, I'm not sure which is more serious than the other, that you sincerely believe something that has been demonstrated to be false, or that you know it is false and you are still banging that drum. I don't know. But looks like there are these three indications that confirm the idea that we will have a federal election in the last week of April or first week of May. There is a fourth point of reference that I'm waiting for, uh, and that is the issue of abortion. That is a good sign. I mean, the liberals do use that often, and every time it doesn't lead to an election, of course. But those are the times when they are trying to divert attention from a hot issue that has put a spotlight on them. Whereas right now, that is not the case, we know. All focus is on the tariff war with the US, including, in fact, even the burning issues that consumed us before this tariff war broke out. They have been relegated to the background. So, right now, if they bring out the abortion issue, that I think will be confirmation for me that there is going to be an immediate election soon after Mr. Carney takes over as the leader of the Liberal Party. There will be some transition period. I was watching a video yesterday, and someone who has experience of this said that when former Prime Minister Paul Martin became the Liberal Party leader back in, was it 2003 or 2004? He took over from the then Prime Minister Jean Chrétien. And the transition period was almost exactly 1 month, about 29 days. And this person said that transition period between Prime Minister Trudeau and the incoming Prime Minister Mark Carney won't be that long. He said it could be as short as 1 week. So there are still a few ifs and buts, and there are a few unknown variables, but looks like we are heading for an election end of April or early May. But I'll still look for that fourth sign. If the liberals start talking about how Pierre Poilievre is allegedly going to take away women's rights, that will be the clincher for me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Until we meet again, goodbye and be well.